Okay, my outstanding friends, once again, shocker du jour. This is going to be a little long, but it's going to be very, very accurate and factual, and I don't want to leave any room for error because these are my claims. What I am about to show you changes these things: geology, history, archaeology, anthropology, fossilization, timelines of history, human evolution, proof of the myths or gods or whatever you want to call them, proof of giants, proof of dragons. Velikovsky's theories, or not even theories, his documentation of the historical documents is now very well proven. All right, the ancient myths were factual, and it appears that everything that I can find here on Earth or in space is or was biology at one time. Now it's hardened up biology, but it's still biology. And it turns back into more biology. We eat the things that were dead at one time that now have refiltered back into the food chain. This is a whole new way of looking at life. Once you get mud fossilized, everything in your life changes 100%, and it will not be normally well accepted by people that surround you because they want to be accepted. And if you want to be accepted, you're in the wrong place. Because trust me, everybody I talk to has been pushed back at. Some of them very hard, some of them not quite so hard. It depends on the group of people that you're around. I find very, 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 very few people that can just stop and discuss it. That's all. Just discuss it. Once you discuss it and you point out, and you know, you can go back and forth. That's what discussion is. That's what interaction is. That's what science is. That's what revelation is. Understanding. You don't have any of that if you don't have interaction. Give and take. Tell me what you got. Show me yours, I'll show you mine. You know, that type of thing. But you have to open your mind, because this is such a mind expander that there are very few minds that can handle it. They just can't. You can't handle the truth. Remember Jack Nicholson? I guess it was Jack Nicholson. You can't handle the truth, and that's a fact. You know, but you don't want to fight with people. You don't want to fight, and you don't want to get bitter, because that happens. Trust me, that happens. It happened to me. It's not the way to handle it. Anyway, that's a whole nother issue. Let's get down to the actual facts. How you deal with it mentally, that's up to you. But trust me, you're in a better state now than I was, because I was one against the world. Now I see it's all over the place, but it's getting kind of crazy. A lot of crazy stuff, because the people don't know what they're doing. They're just jumping on a bandwagon, and they haven't done any research. I've done all the research. I know what I'm talking about, and if I don't, help me. Just help me, but show me something physical, material. I'm a material scientist. I don't want to hear about some proposal of, I don't know. You got to show me something material, and that's what I do. I show material evidence, such as this Triassic footprint, which is in the Triassic rock, supposed to be 400 million years old, down to 250 million years old. This didn't happen that long ago. This is what proves Velikovsky, and it proves all my mud fossil theory. And I'll show you. You're going to see over and over and over, because I'm going to keep doing this until it starts to become understood. And my Mudfossil University will literally be the top university in the world, because we don't just do the mud fossils. It's chemistry, it's biology, it's anatomy, it's space, it's other planets, we're history, you know, gods, eternity. All that stuff now is open, and it's on the table. There's no more all that stuff crazy, don't come around here with that. No. That is the part that's crazy. We've been denied reality, and now it's over. Okay, my friends, hold on to your hats. I am going to show you red bed, gray clay, and black cap. But in between, I have a human footprint. And this is in the Connecticut Valley Rift Basin, supposedly Triassic rock. And it is Triassic, it's 3 colors: red bed, gray clay, black cap. But I have a footprint in the gray clay. And then the black cap came on top. This is what mainstream says. This somehow, most of the life on Earth perished in a brief moment about 250 million years ago. This is the Triassic extinction. Scientists call it the Permian-Triassic extinction, or the Great Dying. And then there was another event afterwards. Now, this was the worldwide Great Flood. It killed virtually everything, and it killed the giants, and it killed all and created all the mud fossils, which I'll show you in a second. And I have a human footprint, human-ish at least, stuck between the layers of the Triassic footprint, the red, the gray, and the black. Here it comes. Okay, this is it right here. Origins of the dinosaur dominance in this particular area of this Connecticut Valley Rift Basin, exactly where I am. Now, the basin with a lower red bed, gray clay, and black cap is where this is what is found in this area, and that is the Triassic signature: red bed, gray clay, black cap. That's the Triassic signature, and it is worldwide. Now, let's get into this, because this changes everything. All right, we're going to go over these things in a minute or in a short while, but let me just explain the whole deal. The Triassic era was supposed to be millions and millions of years, and they said it had a red bed, gray clay, and a black cap, as I think I've shown you before. 3 layers of these materials. It's a worldwide 3 color layers, all everywhere around the whole entire world. And also they called it at the Great Dying at this particular period, because everything on Earth died off. Now, in recorded history, it was recorded as a hot water worldwide global flood, heavy silicates and salts, because we were almost impacted by Venus. And it created a flood. It hit the atmosphere and combusted, and as it was approaching, it was hotter than the sun, and it boiled everything. And in this basin, which is it's just like a basin, the water would have been up here, and it would have boiled, and everything in here would have boiled like just a soup. And the very bottom, the red would run off, which was the body flesh. Literally, the red is the flesh, and it boils off, and then you get other parts of the creatures and biology and so forth, and that's where you get this gray clay. And then the black cap was from all the fallout of all of the combustion and volcanoes and all that stuff. So the substrate was here. This was the original Earth. Then the red bed came from the boiled flesh, so it boiled out. Now, I'm up here, so I didn't have, all of that stuff ran off down to here and left the body parts, the bigger parts. There were just chunks of body parts. They stayed here. Everything else ran off, all the mud, so mine are just unbelievably perfect. Now, so you got the red bed is the flesh, and it's clay. And then the gray clay is above it, and that's like not quite really fleshy. It's a little bit different. It's got biology and plant life and all kind of things, I'm sure. So that's the gray clay. Now the black cap is the fallout. So that layers are right there. Now I have all of those layers right here. The red bed, the gray clay, and the black cap. Only the gray clay should have been up here. That's a footprint, and it appears to be almost human. And I believe it's a footprint from this guy here or somebody pretty close to him. It's in size. I mean, it's just perfect. And this is a footprint. I'm going to show you this very, very clearly. And this was the black cap that was on top of it. And when it came out completely like this. And I always wondered why it would have come out so perfect. And then I see this is all red bed here. And now I realize what happened when he stepped in it. It squirted out the red bed up this way. And then the black cap went into that squirted up part, which is this, all the way around here. Right? Because and it kind of came up, and it was sort of, you can see, it was sort of wet-ish, but almost like clay. And when he hit it, it came up. And here's the way I'm showing it here. Forget the black stuff. It wasn't here. Forget the black stuff for now. There was the red bed was here, then the gray clay came. So the gray clay was all the way across. He goes, the red bed goes up here and up here alongside of the gray clay and mounds up over the top of it. Then the black comes. So it has a separation layer right here, all the way around it. Because when he hit it, it squirted up. And that's why it came out so perfect. I always wondered about that. I thought, boy, that's unusual. How could this happen? And that's what it is. Because if you look at this, this is the red bed here. This is the same stuff that's way down at the bottom. And again, this is the black, this is the gray clay. See? That was supposed to be above the red bed. And it got pushed below it. See? And then all of the fallout came. So this guy was running for his life, I can tell you that. It sure looks like it to me. All right, so if I'm right, and I don't see how I'm wrong on this one, this shows that the Triassic happened maybe in 3 days. 3 days. So it just happened. Both of these were wet at the same time. There's no question whatsoever. The footprint is in there, absolutely flawless, and it pushed down through the red bed, which was still wet. And then the black landed on top. And then to have the foot that goes along with all of this, and I'm pretty sure that foot would have made this exact same impression. It's beyond unbelievable, but it's true. It is what it is. Okay, just to give you a little lay of the land. There's the Dinosaur State Park, and I'm over here. I'm about 7.5 miles away, and as I showed you, this is the lay of the land here. This is a rift valley, and everything washed down into the bottom, and all of the mud ran off my stuff and left all of the organs and the denser parts intact as stones, but the bloody fleshy stuff ran off as mud. All right, I just want to be absolutely certain you understand what you're looking at here. This is the top, and it was on this, and when I found this, it just came right off, and I always wondered why it would come off. The gray clay went down through, and it pushed the red bed up on the sides, and here it is here. You see that? That's red bed. That should not be. That should be this black cap. That should be this color. I'm going to use some water, put it on here, because water always gives you a better idea of what you're looking at. So that is the black cap. All right, it's not hard to see that. But look at on the side. That's the red bed. Now that's supposed to be way down at the bottom. But it just happens to be here because it got pushed up when the guy stepped the gray clay down and displaced that red bed and pushed it up on the sides. Now, so there's the black cap, and it has little edges of the red bed. That's why it came off so perfect. And of course there's the red bed, and the gray clay was up here. Came up like this. That's why this still has some gray clay on the side, I mean the red bed on the side. Otherwise it's this black cap. That's what it should be, the whole thing. You see that? Yeah, just barely. And again, this is the red bed, and I mean it doesn't get much redder than that. And that's the boiled flesh. It literally is boiled flesh. And that came off and puddled in the bottom. And then the gray clay, which is the, you know, it's what they call marl. it's mud and it's bones and it's tendon, and there's all kinds of whatever biology is a little tougher than this is real. This just erode right away like nothing. When you boil a creature's body, the fleshy stuff goes, and then after that the organs are, pretty much stay intact. And that's what happened here. Like this lung, hold on, I gotta get it. You see that? This is DNA tested. And that's a human lung. And it's human because it's DNA tested human. And again, flat as a pancake because of this flood. And that boiled out of some creature's body. And he just laid there and petrified. Or preserved, however you want to call it. Because there's tons of blood in here. Look, it's just red as it can be. And I drilled down in here somewhere, I can't remember where, this goes back 10 years ago. And I got, maybe like there, I think, a pin drill, and you just go inside and you get the blood out of there. You don't take it out of the surface. It's not a swab or anything. And that lung is absolutely flawlessly preserved. You see all that? That's what they call pleura. And that's the rubber bag that coats a lung. And I can prove this. You say, well, Roger, how are you going to prove it? Well, I'll show you how. Don't forget, flat as a pancake, that fabric, you see that fabric? That's like a rubber bag, and it is thick. And I can tell you that for a fact, because here's one that's half worn off. That's another lung. All right, I don't know if it's a human or not, and it's not DNA tested, but you see that? That's the rubber bag. It's just eroded away. Flat as a pancake from the flood. Choop. And the rubber bag, which is, they got to do this all day long. And you get bashed around, your lungs get bashed around. You ever think of what happens to a guy playing football? This is some pretty serious biology here. But it is eroded away. And that's what happened in the flood. They have seams in them. You see what that seam? This one snapped and eroded. The other one has a seam, but it didn't erode. It didn't snap. You see the seam? If that had just had in a different conditions, and I don't know what conditions this one was in, but where it was, that particular seam snapped. You see it come running right down here, same thing. And as they dried out, see, when they were soaked, seams, they seam with some glue. I mean, literally it's like glue. And because it's got a seam somewhere, and that's what happens. Even bones, like this is a bone. So I got a little water on it here, but you see that seam right there? I don't know if you can see that or not. Comes up like this and back like that. That's a regular seam. And it's where they come together. There's like a glue. If you look, I've seen, I don't want to get too deep into it, but they trust me, they wrap right around. And that right there and this right here is where that seams in. And they all have seams all over the place. Even like the foot. Hold on. You see where the blood in the seam is in the front here? And that's where the toes would have twisted up, I guess. Some kind of a seam here. And I think these, over here, you see this? I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a round pin right there. All right, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a round pin, and you see these curves here? I think this has springs inside of the foot instead of bones, and because we have other ones that, no question, they have springs. Absolutely no question whatsoever. And I think that pin is where these springs rock a little bit, which might work. And it looks like it even has a sole built right into it, but it's not. Well, I don't think it is. I mean, it's a sole built in, but that's part of the guy's foot. That's not like a shoe. And you see all these seams coming together here? And it even has this round little plug in the front to hold all of the side seams coming. Like they come together around here, and it seams right in the center like a medallion. You see? Very interesting. And this was all pre-flood. This was before the flood happened. These creatures were here. And even like a geese. This is Caesar Augustus. All right, you see the feathers in his head? See his beak? And this is nucleophilic invasion and substitution. So whatever was in the waters near here, and it was boiled into it, it invaded and substituted. That's good. Look it up, nucleophilic invasion and substitution. Now, the key is, though, it invades and substitutes according to the biology that's invading. So this is feathers. And they're feathers. This is feathers. So it substituted molecules in the feather to stabilize it. Well, guess what? Inside it's not feathers. Inside it's meat and bones and arteries and veins and, livers and kidneys. So here is not the same as the surface. Anywhere where there's a membrane or collagen, it created aluminum silicates, which is feldspar. Feldspar is from membranes. Phospholipids boil down to become aluminum silicates in the flood. Aluminum silicates, every single rock almost there is, has a coating of aluminum silicates, because almost every single rock that's an individual rock like this was a body part of some creature. Now that's not a body part, that's fallout. That's just accumulation on top of there, as was the mud, all right, and the gray stuff. All right, so I'm not saying there is no such thing as rocks that are not body parts. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But there are a ton of body parts that are rocks, and I have a ton of them here. I mean, even meat. Preserved like a piece of meat. There's a little latch that holds that piece of meat into another piece of meat, working on some body of a creature somewhere a long, long time ago. Anyway, I'm right down the street from Dinosaur State Park, and I have the same things they have, only mine is a human footprint and pressed through Triassic rock. So all of these three things happened literally at the same time. The guy stepped on it, squished the gray clay, which was still wet, through the red bed, and then a black cap came on top, and that's why it's separated out so flawlessly. You see that? That fit, it just popped right off there. And like I say, it's because of this red bed being squished up to sides. Just an absolute stroke of luck. And of course, that's the black cap. All right, it's a Triassic signature. And I'm in the Triassic area. And this place has been very, very well studied. This is just phenomenal. I'm just getting ready to finish this up. Just comes in, this 11th of March. Giant plague grave could be largest mass burial site ever seen in Europe. And they find all these, and they think they were plague victims. And this is in Nuremberg somewhere, apparently. Now look at this layering here, and these bodies. They're just everywhere, and they were like huddled in apparently this dish-like shape. And that's the Triassic signature right there. Let's look at it close. Oh, okay, it doesn't get any better than this. This, as I showed you before, and this just came in, this new stuff just came in a minute ago. It appears to me that they were huddled like someplace, like trying to hide against whatever was coming at them, and unfortunately were overcome with the red bed and then the gray clay and the black cap came over the top, or at least the gray clay. So here's the sequence. Here, looking at it from far away, here they are in this dish, looks to me. You see that? That's the red bed, and they are in that red bed. Then you got the gray or clay or the black cap. Now I don't know how much excavating they did. They may have cleaned off a whole bunch of this and then all of a sudden came onto this where these people were, and they say, whoa, stop digging. And that's what they did do. All right, this is just unbelievable. I'm just closing everything up, and this just falls out of the sky. Giant plague grave could be the largest mass burial site ever seen in Europe. Now they're saying this is a plague. I'm seeing families, they were hiding, and they got overwhelmed, I think, by this Triassic event. All right, it was discovered, this pit of graves in Nuremberg, which is in Germany, and it is in this Triassic area, was named in 1834 by Friedrich August von Alberti after a succession of 3 distinct rock layers, that's the Triassic, that are widespread in southern Germany. The lower Bundenstein, the colorful sandstone, which is the red, the middle shell-bearing limestone, which is the marl, and the upper Kripper colored clay, which is the black cap normally. And this is the Triassic, and this was discovered, and it's all over here in southern Germany, and this is what we're talking about, Nuremberg. So like I said, this just came out 10 minutes ago. Giant plague grave, the largest mass burial site. They think it was from the plague. That's an assumption that they have not shown any evidence to support that whatsoever yet. All right, you see this here? Plague leaves no visible traces on the bones of its victims. So more work will need to be done to confirm the diagnosis. They can't confirm anything, they're just assuming this. It says a DNA analysis of the bones is expected to confirm the traces of plague bacterium. They're expecting that, which is this species. But several lines of dating point to plague as the most likely explanation. I say it's the Triassic era, and just what I showed you was this was because of this worldwide flood created these 3 layers of literally boiling the waters on Earth and made a stew of the creatures and all of the plants and everything. And all of the cellulose type things and the bones, they seem to have dissolved in this. But, well, in this case they didn't, because they were impacted in the red mud. They were surrounded still by flesh, basically. That's what the red mud is. It's just decomposed. All right, so let's take it from the top. Here's the whole crew. They're all sitting here like just sitting here. It's not, or maybe somebody laid them there. I can't say that's not possible, but I don't think so. I think they were sitting here huddled up as little families, and they got overwhelmed by the red bed, and then the gray clay and the black cap came over the top. And here's a little closer look at it right here. Here they are. They look like they're huddled up. Anyway, this is the red bed and the black cap. I don't see where, you know, it looks like the red bed and then the gray clay and so forth, and maybe a little more reddish came in, but then the black cap on top, looks like to me. Now they should be able to date these things there, if it was the Triassic or not. I would say it's the Triassic. Here it is up close now. There's obviously some kind of a bowl here, and this is obviously extremely red, and they're obviously part of that red bed. Now you can see it. It's not you can't miss it. Now they also had green bones in here. Did I show you any of the green bones? Yeah, you see it right here? They had these green bones in here. Now, apparently at one time, this place, they dumped copper waste into here, copper solvents or something. And I know, and I did some experiments long ago with some copper in bones, and yes, this is exactly what it would do. That's exactly what would happen. And anyway, I was trying to look to see the structure of the cellular formation that anchors the tendons. And it's quite interesting. Anyway, see, normally there's no green in them, obviously. Well, not obvious, but there is no green in them. All right, I'm just going to wrap it up with this. That's been DNA tested. That's this long right here. And I drilled in a hole into here. You know, you drill in and you get the red blood right out of here. And this has got very, very good red blood in it. And it was excellent quality DNA. And it's flat as a pancake. They all died in a flood. And they were literally boiled out of these creatures' body because I am in a Triassic basin. This area must have boiled like a pot. And it created these red beds, which is all the flesh boiled off in the red bed, then the gray clay, which is the ribs and all that stuff, the calcium stuff and all that melted away, and then the black cap was when all the volcanic eruptions and everything landed back on the earth. Now this is a lung that was the same area, flat as a pancake, again, same thing, boiled out of a creature's body, but on the seam opened up. You see, that's the pleura. That's the bag that coats your lung. And this seam did not open up. It stretched a little bit, but it didn't open up. The other one opened right up. You see it? This one here just boiled completely out. And all it left was like the structure. That one there, everything boiled out of it basically and filled in with silicates. And then the blood came right out of the pores, the alveoli. You see these little round circles there? Those are alveoli, which is what's in your lung, because it's a lung. It's just they have them. And when it was laying like this in the mud, so that was sticking up, and it filled in like all of these areas with silicates, because of heavy silicon solutions in certain areas. But where it bubbled the blood out, it looks just like this. That's what came out of there. And I have other ones that blood comes out. It's not hard to get blood out of a rock. I don't know where they ever came up with it. Can't get blood out of a rock. Who came up with that? I'm telling you, my mind just gets blown every day. And if you can't see what I have shown you, I don't know how I can discuss things with you. You know, I want to discuss things with you. I want you to say, no, Roger, that can't be right because of this, or this. And then I can say, no, let me just show you the evidence that supports my claims. And at this point, they're claims. They're not even speculation anymore. I'm claiming this is exactly what I say it is, and it can be tested. It's not going to can't be tested. All right, so if I am right, which I am, that's my claim at this point, it changes everything in history, archaeology, anthropology, probably in the religious realm, and certainly in the historical evidence, and you know, the timelines, and virtually everything that they talked about that we've been taught is subtle science. It's not subtle by any means, and it's time to revisit it because it's so unsettled. It's unsettling. I couldn't help myself. All right, that's it. That's all I have to say, my friends. It's time that we pay attention to this, because I'm telling you right now, if all the things that were written in the past about these gods and everything being immortal, and some of them being good, some of them being bad, and a lot of just crazy in-between stuff, it leads to a whole new way of thinking about our eternity. I mean, you know, a lot of people have very strong religious faith. Excuse me. And that's fabulous, because right now I do too, and I never did before. I never even considered it. I just thought it was nonsense because there was never any evidence. Well, now the evidence is so overwhelming, it would be nonsensical not to consider it. And that's what I have found. People just don't care. Do not care. Very, very disturbing on a number of levels. So on that note, we will call it a day. Now, please make this information available to other people. Help me get this information out. This is a test. This is literally a test. If you fail this test, you just failed. And this test is not the kind of test you want to fail. I don't think so. And all I can say is pay attention. And the last words I'm going to put on this, I love you all. And the only one that ever came here saying that was Jesus Christ. And certainly I'm not saying I'm anything like Jesus Christ. I have so many sins to account for. I'm going to be in trouble, I think. I'm hoping not, but you get what you get. Depends on what you did in your life. Now, they say if you are serious within your heart and God and Christ can see that in your heart, you can be forgiven, I hope. That's all I can hope for. Anyway, this is, to me, this is serious stuff. This is no joke. And it's up to you to interpret it whatever way you would like. But again, I love you all, and Jesus Christ was the only one who came here saying, I'm coming in peace, and I don't care what you do to me, I'm going to be peaceful. That, to me, was exceptional. And then all the other things he did and said support the statements and the factual things I'm finding on Earth. He said Earth is a corpse. He said when you discover Earth, you're going to discover a corpse. And you will be troubled, and you will marvel. Yes, all of those things are true. All the things I can see about I'm talking about. And all I can say is it's up to you to make your own determination, but if you don't seek, you will not find. And seeking doesn't mean you just say, oh, okay, thank you, I got my information and now I know everything. No, because I certainly don't know everything. So if you listen to me, you're getting only my side of it. But I try to support my things with evidence. So anyway, please, try to pass this information along. This is a test. You are here to pass this test along. Consider the time of your calling. Consider the time of your calling. All right? I love you all. I hope this stimulates you.